So I'm gonna go ahead and, are we okay to call the to order?
Yes. Well,
Right. Do we have sign sheet pen?
no, but I think I got everyone.
Oh, okay. Great.
White and Nancy.
So tonight for the agenda, we have, we'll take comments from the citizens for anything that's not on the agenda. Then we have, two public hearings. The first is Chris Urick, for the dam removal. The second is Jeff Spur for an additional building on Route 106 in Perkinsville. And then after that, we'll have sketch plan review for 2-lot subdivision. Then we'll look at our meeting minutes, and I suspect we'll be probably out of time, but if we do have time, we have some procedures that we want to go through. And so does anybody, are there any comments about the agenda? Does that work for you? You're okay going first? Yeah. Okay. Are there any comments from the citizens on anything that's not on the agenda? I see we've got Dwight on the phone. Who else do we have signed in?
Roy Ship. The other one is my other account.
Okay, hi Roy, why don't you pipe up? Let's see if we can hear you.
Hello, can you hear me all right?
Gotcha, thanks. Okay. Now you can silence your mic again. Okay, so I think what we want to do is now we're continuing the application 260225.YUR for Chris Urick for the renewal of permit 220930 CU1 for dam removal along Wellwood Orchard Road, parcel 120042. The application requires conditional use review, site plan review, and flood hazard review. This is a continuation of our hearing. We had, let's see. During the last hearing, we left off with a few items that we thought would be helpful for you to consider providing to us. And we decided to continue it, so we're going to do that tonight. And with that, we have everybody who's here is already sworn in, right? Ryan, Roy, Chris is sworn in. Dwight, are you going to provide testimony tonight? Do you have something that you'd like to say?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is if all of you would just swear in, I've got the words here. Let's see. Dwight, what's your wife's name?
Nancy.
Dwight and Nancy. Okay, Nancy, if you want to participate, we'll have you swear in too. So here's the pledge. I hereby affirm that the evidence I give in the cause under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth under the pains and penalties of perjury. So we'll go Dwight and Nancy.
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
Yes.
Roy.
Yep. Yes.
And yes. Okay. And we also are
And myself.
and Ryan.
And I do.
You do. Thank you, Ryan. I just was so intent on not forgetting Beth. It's probably fine. Sorry about that. So now, what do we have that's new? What's new and how should we? Let's just keep it moving forward. So Ryan, you want to tell us what you got for new things, and then
Sure. So I think there's 3 new things in the packets. In the packet, there's the item 28, which is an archaeological resource assessment. 29, which is a supplemental assessment, and 30, which is the habitat restoration plan.
And so I think what we'll do is we'll do new exhibits. The exhibits, before we sort of had some new exhibits at the end, so the numbering is going to get a little bit different than what we see on the page. But we had through exhibits 31 before. So what I'll do is I'll say that item 28 on the public hearing, this packet list, that would be exhibit 32. That's the archaeological assessment. Exhibit 33 will be item 29. It's the archaeological resources assessment. And exhibit 34 is item 30. That's the habitat restoration. That's fine.
No, but what was I missing?
Well, you weren't missing anything, but during the hearing, during the last hearing, besides the packet that you had arranged,
Mhm.
we were provided additional exhibits that evening,
Yeah.
like the Army Corps permit, for example. And so I just added them as exhibits.
Please.
So that's right, we have them. And I was just thinking that for tracking tonight, if we're talking about different exhibits,
Yeah.
we're starting at 32 tonight. You wanna, are you
Oh, yeah, I
you
see.
with me?
Yeah, I just, yeah. I'm good.
So, Chris, could you fill us in on the new exhibits?
Sure, so both the archaeological resource assessment and the supplemental archaeological resource assessment were just part of
You have Dwight.
Sorry.
Dwight, hang up on the phone.
Yep.
Yep.
Looks like we made it.
There you go. Okay. All right. Now we got to
So both the archaeological assessment and the archaeological resource assessment supplemental were just elements of the standard NEPA, National Environmental Policy Act review process that's standard of all federally funded projects. So that was part of our NEPA clearance. They did come up at the last hearing, so we wanted to just provide them to you as a courtesy. And then, of course, the habitat restoration plan, I think, is the bugaboo for the board.
Because the archaeological information sort of had more of the recommendations that we didn't have before. You knew them, and I think Roy knew them, but we hadn't seen what they were.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay, all right. And what, we have the new exhibit for that restoration plan. Does anybody have any questions so far? Any of the board members? And Dwight, Nancy, do you have anything that you'd like to share with us? I expect, and I'm just gonna tell everybody here this, I expect that this will be fairly short. So this is gonna be your chance to share anything, any concerns or that you have with us in the next probably 5-10 minutes. Because we only have 3 new exhibits. So I'll start with Dwight and Nancy.
Well, the main thing I was wondering about was when this whole project started, some almost 4 years ago, there was some talk about removing a structure in the brook. And the zoning board put out a document saying that that structure would not be removed. I was just wondering what has changed, or has anything changed about moving that structure?
So I'll go. I'll go ahead and I'll summarize what I think was the conclusion from our discussion during the last hearing. And regarding that, you're talking about the stone culvert downstream of the dam. Does that sound correct to you?
Oh,
Shoot. So I'm gonna move on from Dwight just for a minute and save my punchline. But I think while we're just talking about this, I think the gist of it was that.
Oh, here we are. We're back again. Yes.
Okay.
It was line item C4. in the zoning board sheet.
Right. So what I think my understanding of the presentation is that we did discuss that. And the board at the time was asking for the archaeological assessment to include that area if they were gonna work on it, or to exclude that area from the proposed project. And if I understood correctly, the idea now would be that the applicant doesn't plan to take any action to work on that, and the stream would be allowed to naturalize in that area. So if that stone culvert becomes an obstruction, then the stream's just gonna knock it down. But they're not gonna send any equipment out there to remove the obstruction. Because I'm just paraphrasing, does that sound right to you, Roy and Chris?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, that's correct.
is that okay with you, Dwight?
Yes, correct. I mean, I'd be all right with that because what that stone culvert was, just for information, is that's the old road that used to go from Weathersfield Road along my abutting property, and it used to go through the reservoir, actually in the bottom of the reservoir, and comes out on the other end. And that's why they were saying it's archaeology, you know, it's something that should be preserved. Though there's not much left to it, though, that's for sure. The stream is kind of run around it, so. But yes, I'm okay with that outcome.
Okay, then my recollection during the last hearing is also that one item that the applicant is working on is to get the town of Weathersfield to clear up right of ways over your property for the water conveyance or the pipelines. Is that,
Yes, that would be, you're saying the old feed pipe that used to feed Springfield. Yeah, that, right now Springfield has a right of way across our property, and after this work is done, I would definitely want the town of Springfield or the city of Springfield, whatever you want to call it, to put a note on our land records that they no longer have that right of way across our property.
so Chris, could you tell us the status of that? Or I know because you told us before, but tell us again.
Well, it's something the town of Springfield is aware is a condition in the existing decision. They're fine with it. They think it makes sense. They plan to do it. I spoke to the current town manager, Scott Pickup, about it a couple weeks ago. To the best of my knowledge, the town attorney has not begun to take action on clearing those deeded easements, but it's something they're aware of and cooperative about.
Do you think it's realistic for them to do it in the coming months? Or is that a project that's gonna be more appropriate to close out as a condition that we'd be looking in the couple year mark?
My assumption, and I know just enough to be dangerous here, is that it's not probably a huge, extensive process that takes many, many months, but I could be wrong. I just don't have any familiarity with that legal process.
Okay. And then the third thing I think that we talked about the Phelps with was just an easement over their lands for some of the work shown on the plan. That's already done, right?
I think, yeah,
Okay, so that, I think, Dwight, those were the things that we talked about. You already have a written easement. If you look at the plan, there's a little section of your property that pokes into the area they're gonna be working on. And they got an easement from you to do that. Does that sound correct?
Roy and I have talked about this, and Roy did send me a letter that specifically talks about what I would allow them to do on our property, and that would be right at the dam site itself. There was some excavation on one side of it to slope it in, and then there's some I don't want to call it official wetlands because it's right at the base of the dam, which has to be graded in such a way that the flow of the water would go through there. And I've given Roy the go ahead to do that when they get down there. But I want to go back to this right of way. I want it documented in your notes and so forth that if somebody does a title search on our property, if we decide to sell it, that the right of way has been discontinued and so forth. I don't want Springfield to have the right of way anymore since they don't need the pipe to drain it. So if it can get in the notes or in something that definitely gets on our land records in the Weathersfield office, then know that Springfield no longer has that right of way.
So we have it as a condition, or it's
Okay.
already. It sounds like the Springfield application team is aware of that and they're pursuing it. And I guess that to what extent the development review board could, it's nice to leave a condition like that a little bit flexible in terms of time frame. If you're telling me that you're pursuing it, then the time frame isn't that critical. But if the abutter who has the easement over their land says they want to
The time frame isn't critical, just as long as it gets there.
Okay, all right. I think that's fair enough. Enough said. So we'll keep the condition, and then we'll consider listing a time frame that's not realistic anymore, right? Something like that. Let's see. Anybody else who's here to speak about it? Okay, Beth, would you like to provide additional comments about anything?
I just have a question. The applicant was supposed to do a habitat restoration plan. I guess you haven't. Nothing's on the website anymore, so the rest of us don't have it.
Okay, so let's do,
Have you read it? Are you happy with it? You know, I haven't seen it.
I think that, we have sort of a new security procedure, because what we learned a couple meetings ago was that an applicant came in here and filled out our town application, and lo and behold, you know, the whole internet takes it, and she became part of a scam for application fees. And it's been very traumatic. It turns out that it was not just her, it was another applicant to the town of Weathersfield. So there are systems scouring these applications and coming up with very clear reasons why the applicant is to send money into the town, but it's really not the town. So what we have now is the application is available for public viewing here in the town. You have to get out of your vehicle and come and look at it. I suppose the town could consider sending it to a person, but we're no longer gonna just leave it on the website. So what we can do, I think, for that particular item, since there's some sensitivity on many parts. We have an abutter who's interested in it, the board's interested in it. It's not terribly long, it's one page, right? It's a narrative. So perhaps, Roy, you could just read it, and then Beth will get a chance to hear what the plan is in its entirety, and I suspect it'll only take a couple minutes. Is that okay with you?
Sure.
Okay.
Do you want me, is it okay to summarize or should I read it verbatim?
To read it,
Okay,
because because no one else has seen it but
Gotcha.
us.
okay. So here's the habitat restoration plan for the Springfield Reservoir Dam removal. The goals of the removal of the obsolete and deteriorating Springfield Reservoir Dam are to protect public safety, enhance water quality, and improve habitat. Following dam removal, the site will be restored to allow it to return to natural conditions with free-flowing stream channels and native vegetation. The construction contractor that will be removing the dam and accumulated sediment will leave the stream channels at their approximate natural dimensions shown on the plans that are based on a river assessment beyond the influence of the current dam. Once at the proposed grades, all disturbed soils will be planted with native seed mixes and covered with straw mulch to avoid weed seeds common in hay mulch. Wet meadow seed mix will be planted along the stream channels, and an upland wildflower and grass mix that is tolerant to droughty conditions that exist on the site will be planted along the upland slopes. The seed mixes are included on the plans. And they're in this document too, if you want to see, they're the long list of species. The recommended coverage for the seeding is 70 to 80% coverage for the first year per dam removal maintenance guidance. The project engineer and project manager will monitor the vegetation coverage and request overseeding by the contractor if the proper amount of coverage is not achieved following the first growing season. Monitoring will continue at the project site for a minimum of 3 years to track the evolution of the free-flowing channel and to track the return of vegetation. Some channel adjustment, including minor bank erosion and channel bed erosion, are anticipated as the free-flowing channel adjusts its path after the dam is removed. Corrective actions will be taken if chronic erosion hotspots exist and if bare spots in vegetation appear. The Connecticut River Conservancy has agreed to perform native tree plantings at the project site the spring following dam removal. A mix of upland and wetland trees and shrubs will be planted at an approximate density of 400 stems per acre. The Connecticut River Conservancy will review the site following dam removal and develop a tree planting plan that matches the site conditions. Trees will include deer browse material throughout the site and deer wintering canopy at the edges of the site where drier conditions exist. The dam removal will facilitate the movement of fish and wildlife in the river corridor. The tree planting will take place the following spring to allow the channel time to adjust and begin to stabilize following dam removal. A second supplemental planting is possible if needed based on the success of the first planting. Invasive species handling notes have been added to the plans based on input from the Vermont DEC Wetlands Program. The contractor will need to clean equipment to ensure invasive species are not tracked onto the site and to avoid the spread of invasives. Honeysuckle will be removed from the site that exists in the work area, and it will be buried 5 feet below ground to smother it. Soil will not be brought to the site as part of the dam removal project. If planting soil is needed, the silty loam accumulated sediment in the reservoir will be spread up on the slopes and be for planting. The site work will take place in the former impoundment and under the footprint of the dam where water exists, so impacts to rare, threatened, or endangered species are not anticipated. Based on past experience, this site will likely stabilize in 1 to 2 years and appear fully revegetated in 2 to 3 years following dam removal. The site restoration plan presented here will supplement the anticipated natural regeneration of the site based on dormant seed buried in the reservoir and wildlife moving local seed into the site. The site will move towards a riparian wetland along the stream channels that transitions to a forest in the adjacent upslope areas over time.
So did you have anything to add to that? Beth?
Yes, thank you very much for doing this. The second paragraph, I see that you're monitoring the site for 3 years. I think it's the second paragraph after the table. Monitoring will continue the project site for within 3 years to track evolution of the free-flowing channel and to track the return of vegetation. Would it be possible to just add in there and to track invasive species, since they're gonna be there anyway?
Sure.
Thank you.
And the. I think it might be a good idea.
Yes, this happened the other night, like board, whatever meeting was that. I remember plugging back in.
So who is this fund? So I understand the construction project phase, and you're gonna have the project engineer and project manager and a normal contractor out there. This is something that's fairly typical. And then we're gonna get to this next phase, which is next after the river's had all winter to sort of get this channel started, and we'll have some vegetation maybe from the fall established. But now we've got this prolonged period that is really the interesting part. So who is that overseer over that next 3 year period? Who is that?
I assume from a regulatory standpoint, that would be the town of Springfield, and they'd likely sort of farm it out to the nonprofit, the Connecticut River Conservancy, and us as appropriate,
And when you say us,
the Regional Planning Commission.
but will you have, so what I'm wondering is that like, does somebody have a contract for this already? Like, is Roy, do you have an engineering company that's gonna be doing this?
No, that's not how the Connecticut River Conservancy operates, like,
I'm just trying to, I don't know
Yeah,
anything
no.
about it.
I hear you.
So we have this, right now, the philosophy is, you didn't have a plan, so we said we want this bond because we have no assurance. The bond is usually purchased by the contractor, who's gonna do the work, whatever that work is. Here we have this narrative. And as part of the narrative is sort of like, I'm curious, who's in charge of making sure that that is followed through? And then who is the contractor and doing the work? That's,
Well, I think, if you wanted to point at somebody and say, hey, you're not doing what you're supposed to do, that's, of course, the town of Springfield.
okay, all right.
But I struggle to imagine a scenario where they're physically out there, planting the trees. The Connecticut River Conservancy often kind of follows these types of projects around, does these plantings and monitoring. We just did another much smaller one off of Valley Street in Springfield this past year, and they kind of came in and did the same thing. That just so happened to be totally voluntary, but they come in and plant it and monitor it for a while after. So it's presumably they would do it sort of on behalf of the town of Springfield, but on a pro bono basis, so there wouldn't be a contract with payment provisions and blah, blah, blah.
So we write down there, we'll volunteer them for this.
They've agreed to do it.
Okay. And then who would? So let's just talk this through. Year one, spring comes, you've done all this planting already, the prior year, the grass has started. And who's gonna get the call to say, okay, come out, you're gonna make the call, or Springfield's gonna make the call and say, Conservancy, come out, we're ready for this year.
Yeah,
Someone's gonna do that.
yeah, presumably in a practical sense, I assume I'll do that, but
You'll do that.
Springfield would be ultimately, it's their responsibility. I'll just do it.
So you'll have you'll be retained somehow. I don't know how you work for the town, or do you have partners, are you just part of a grant or?
No, we are, in this particular case, we have a contract with the town of Springfield to provide the project management support. That's going to end at some point, probably right around the end of construction or shortly thereafter, but we would utilize our core funding to just provide municipal technical assistance to the town.
Okay. And then this, because I can imagine how this works, because it's how it very often works in the town, is we write these conditions down and then they just dissolve. That if without some trigger to say someone's coming out, this is when they're coming out, then it just doesn't happen. Because our land use administrator doesn't have time to do inspections and stuff. So it would be you, the town of Springfield, and engaging the conservation.
Yeah.
Chris, if I could add, so the first phase, the seeding and mulching after post-construction, like we're under contract now to do construction oversight, and that ends when the site is seeded and mulched, and we'll come back and track that vegetation. And then in that time, like we do a lot of work with the Conservancy on these types of projects. Like we'll often be in contact with them as the site's restabilizing and discuss how things went and send them pictures and start to develop a plan. So, you know, I suspect we would be a part of that as well, working with the Conservancy in the town and Chris's group.
Because what I know from the prior documents, that we have prior comments during not this last hearing, but the hearing before, was that idea of who's babysitting these invasive species, like who's gonna do that? So do you have a suggestion for how we would address that? What Beth was just saying is who's gonna follow up and check for those? Would the Conservancy do that?
I think, yeah, I mean, I think
Yeah.
from a regulatory standpoint, it's the town of Springfield and the Conservancy would do it on their behalf. I mean, they want to do this work. They want to plant it. They want to manage invasive species after this is what they do, you know?
You already call out the Conservancy that they have agreed to perform the tree planting.
That's right.
So I think the only thing that's missing is just a statement that they would also be monitoring for invasives. Or anything else that needed to be brought to the town's attention to remediate.
I agree. I think the planting plan makes perfect sense.
Mhm.
It seems like I just reading that document and seeing the plan and, you know, I know Roy is there and the contractor is there and there's this big scope of work that's gonna happen. There's gonna be all these seeds in that soil. There's gonna be a follow-up the next season. And we're gonna see what's happening. There's just this concern of that. It feels a little bit. You know, I'm not certain exactly how we would write that to make sure that the invasive species are followed up on. And we can put it in Springfield to do it. But without some trigger, then I have to put a condition in there for the land use administrator to follow up at your, whatever.
So you want a specific organization that you would expect would be kind of wandering out there and taking a look?
Exactly, and it could be very, very minimal and very discreet, but that's the only thing that's gray in my,
Yeah, I mean, if you want a specific person who's gonna do that on behalf of the town, so you can say us, we'll go out there with the Connecticut River Conservancy and monitor the site.
Okay. I think that'd be helpful. Yeah. Does anybody else have any questions then? So I think unless there's anything anybody wants to add, I think we have what we need. I think we could close the hearing. Yeah, do you guys have So good. So anyone want to make a motion to approve? Okay, do you want to second it?
Second, sure.
Okay, all those in favor of closing the hearing?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
All right, thank you all very much.
Thank you, Roy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dwight and Nancy. I appreciate you zooming in for us tonight.
Okay,
And, for coming.
Thank you, Chris.
Can you,
Thank you.
come over here now and join us?
I don't know.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks.
Bye.
Thanks, Roy.
I will double your salary. Yeah, every year, they double mine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, you're leaving?
Yeah,
Sorry.
so. While you're ducking out, I gotta plant this seed that we need to have a deliberative session. So I'll probably send out a message, you don't need to be a part of that.
Have a good night.
You too.
Okay, so the next item on our agenda is the public hearing for sewer.
Fancy meeting you here. Yeah. I refuse myself from that.
Okay, so I'll open the hearing by reading the warning. We have the notice of public hearing tonight, Tuesday, June 9th at 6:30. Let's see. Application 260520.SPU by Jeff Spur for the construction of an additional building at 4215 Vermont Route 106, parcel 070212. This application requires conditional use review and site plan review. We just continued a hearing. So there's just a few administrative things that we have to do tonight that we didn't do for that hearing because we had done them before. So just hang out for a couple minutes. I'll go through them and then I'll give you the floor in a minute. Is there anybody, do we have any abutters? Nobody else? Nobody online? Okay. So an interested person is anybody who might want to appeal this. And so I think that probably both of the owners are, probably we should grant them interested person status. Is everybody okay with
Yes,
that?
I agree.
Okay.
If they agree.
Yeah, so if you are interested, we'll give you both interested person status, and that just means that you can appeal our decision at will. If an abutter came, they could also be an interested person. Since nobody came, no one else can get interested person status, so no one else can appeal except, I suppose, the town. But good. For this hearing, we don't have any alternates present, but we do have just 3 of us tonight, 3 of 5, so we have a quorum, but nobody can be absent ever again. Does anyone feel like they have any conflicts of interest
No.
for this?
No.
I don't. Have there been any ex parte communication from anybody? No. Anybody speaking tonight, I suppose. We should. Where everybody? So Jeff, Linda, Ryan, are you probably gonna?
Yes.
So, do you guys all swear in? I hereby affirm that the evidence I give in the cause under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth under the pains and penalties of perjury.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So Ryan, can you give us a summary of the application?
Sure, so there's an existing self-storage facility that is greater than 10,000 square feet. Existing, there are 3 buildings currently, and they're looking to add a 4th. This is in the highway commercial district. It appears to meet all the setbacks. There's a series of decisions from previous applications that will likely apply. That's all I have.
So for exhibits, I'm just gonna go through the exhibits that we have. Exhibit 1 will be the public hearing notice. Exhibit 2 is the administrative summary. Exhibit 3 is the application. Exhibit 4 is the administrative review. Exhibit 5 is the self-storage permit history. Exhibit 6 is a lighting exhibit. Exhibit 7 are the rare, threatened, and endangered species review. Exhibit 8 is the community facility impact sheet. Exhibit 9 is a 2007 ZBA decision. Exhibit 10 is a 2008 ZBA decision. Exhibit 11 is a 2012 ZBA decision. Exhibit 12 is 2014 ZBA decision. Exhibit 13 is a 2015 ZBA decision. And Exhibit 14 is a 2019 ZBA decision. Has there been anything, have we got any new exhibits since then?
No new exhibits. We have a new person who's joined online.
Okay, and who's there, John? Does it say John?
Yeah, John Johnson.
John, can you hear us? What's it say? I don't want to read the sign. John in the beard with the blue room. JJ, can you hear us?
He's on, is he on mute?
No, he just turned his video off. Can hear a little static.
Yeah, because there's static, so he's not.
Anyway, do you guys know who JJ is? John Johnson? Jeff, do you guys know John Johnson?
You know him for yours? You know? Oh, we're friends on Facebook.
John Johnson?
No, there's-
Yeah, we don't have
Well,
Facebook.
if he wants to speak up, then we can get his information then.
Yeah.
He can attend.
Okay.
We have some of the very heavy conversations we ever had with this budget kickbacks.
Okay, all right. Is he in a butter of yours?
Who is T?
That's the town. I have 2.
Oh, Tim, oh, you have two, okay.
Okay. Okay, so Jeff and Linda, we have all those exhibits. You guys have maybe seen them lately, or I don't know. Do you want to give us a summary of the application? Ryan, we have all those exhibits, but now it's just a chance for you guys to give us a summary. Anything that we talked about at the site, it's good to tell us about. Go ahead.
You have anything said?
I don't know, I guess not, I don't, other than, is there any more questions about the, screenage?
Probably. But I imagine tonight, we'll look at what existing conditions we have. Ryan's done a review of the application that's sent in and a couple of the comments that he had about it.
Did you add the other trees on that? Oh, I'm sorry. Did you add the other trees on that we had put in? I'm kind of concerned about that because those are the same trees that were on that property when we purchased it way back when. So I feel that they were okay then, they should be okay now.
Okay, so I let's definitely talk about landscaping, but like. We're just doing a summary right now.
Okay.
So. I think, at least for me, I've looked at the exhibits, I've got the gist of the plan. And I was on the zoning board for the last decision, so I'm at least familiar with the last one we did with me and Willis and a couple of the other members that you guys know. And my questions are basically the same as items that Ryan identified. And so do you want to talk about, if you look at your review letter, do you want to talk about the things that are already conditions that we want to make sure we understand how they affect the new application?
Sure. So it might be difficult to jump back and forth, but on the review, one thing that was not mentioned in the application was the drainage. So I worked with them on a site plan to bring in some of those other aspects. I found in the 2015 decision that they recognize the existing drainage, the low spot in the northeast corner, as where water drains to and settles. And so that was accepted in the last decision. So I just drew that in on the site plan and mentioned that. Do you want me to go through to the next one, or do you want to discuss that?
I think just summarizing and then we can go on.
Then so the next one was lighting. There are in each decision that was written with approval and conditions, it mentions complying with the lighting standards and whatever the section was that applied at the time. So in this application, there is an exhibit for proposed lights that are different from the existing ones.
So that's, sorry, that's 6.
Right.
Okay, so I was, go ahead.
So that's what's proposed. There's a sign on the site plan. It shows the sign down by the road. This is in a site plan that's been modified a couple of times. So that sign still exists as a potential location, and a sign on the southernmost building. So there'd be a building mounted and a freestanding that's being applied for. So the signboard that's freestanding is being on the site plan, just the location, but they haven't proposed a sign specifically. So that would be something they'd have to get an administrative permit for later. And the sign on the building is existing, so we just showed that on the site plan.
Oh, so wait, so the sign on the building is existing, and there's no problem with that, that's fine, right?
Right.
But I thought the applicant said he got permission for the sign by the road before.
Yeah, so that was on the site plan as it is still, so nothing's changed about that. The only thing is they haven't applied for the sign itself. So if they wanted
Because
to
it's
down the
inside
road.
the structure.
So the locate, they wouldn't have to come back to amend the site plan, the location's been approved,
Okay.
and it just,
But we don't have to put a sign down there, do we?
No.
Oh, okay.
no, this is basically just getting you permission ahead of time that that location is approved.
Thank you.
And that's just carried over from past applications. Landscaping, that was a condition in each of the permit decisions. I'd have to go back to that decision to figure out that language, but basically.
We'll go to the actual language.
Okay.
Just, you're just pointing out things that you notice that we want to make sure to cover tonight.
Right. Certificate of occupancy, that was a condition of past decisions, and I didn't find evidence of one that had been issued. Outdoor storage was an aspect of previous applications, and it is no longer. It is 250 feet from deer wintering area in Pine Hill. Oh, okay, so it's within the 300-foot distance of deer wintering areas that triggers that bylaw. But the exemption applies because there are no softwood trees to be removed, so, it is exempt from that. Parking it will remain the same as it has been in the previous decisions where there's no designated parking spaces, as basically the use dictates that people will park in front of their unit as they arrive. And there was a rare threatened endangered species bubble that shows up in Downers. This property is not within it. The bylaw says anything near it. So I reached out to Tyler Brown, and he said, and sent him the application. And that's an exhibit, that email, and they have no concerns.
So what's different, you guys are okay with that? Right now, your existing permit, you have basically the whole grassy area, except for where you park your trucks, that was all approved for outdoor storage. That, you're okay with that outdoor storage going away?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I'll take all those and try and go through ahead. In the last batch of conditions that we had for the most up-to-date decision, we had, again, the exterior lighting. So we have the existing lights that you have, and we set criteria for those. Ryan, do you think that the lights that are there comply with the bylaws?
I don't think so.
And what about we have an exhibit with proposed lights.
Well, I think I need to read the standard. Let me pull that up.
Directed downward, shielded from public roads, nearby residences, distant vantage points, full cutoff fixtures.
So yeah, home business, commercial and industrial uses. The following general standards apply to home businesses, commercial and industrial uses. Only full cutoff, shielded or recessed external lighting fixtures that fully direct the light downward shall be used. The maximum height that's the height, exterior signage, interior lighting. So that's basically the relevant question. Only full cutoff, shielded or recessed external lighting fixtures that fully direct the light downward. And so we reviewed what was existing, and we went through some different lighting options, and together we looked and found these ones that are proposed from Home Depot that are, in my opinion, shielded. So in my opinion, they're shielded, and they can fully direct light downwards.
Questions, so yeah, so they would have to turn it down, right? It looks like there's a little swivel.
Well, there is, because we have them at each end of the storage unit,
Yeah,
and when we angle them, they light up the whole side of the storage unit.
Mhm.
Not from the top down, but where you drive and walk is all lit up.
right. My question was about the fixture. It looks like it swivels down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It doesn't look like it'll go vertically
right.
perpendicular, totally perpendicular.
I can't tell by the photo. Maybe you can. I can't tell.
It's an educated guess, but
Yeah.
because they're gonna bump into each other at some point, and then so that could be an issue, that they won't be able to go perpendicular to the ground.
So why would you wanna put a light up that just goes straight
Yeah, I
down?
understand.
So you can't see.
Yeah, your situation contradicts that.
And I mean, would there have not been one complaint about those lights? Not one, in all the years we've had those storage units.
And just to talk about lighting for a minute. Irregardless of specific complaints, we have the bylaws, so we go by them. But when the answer to why you would want to just light a certain area is that our bylaws are trying to protect the lights from what happens with big spotlights, is they just end up getting aimed up into the sky, right? So the bylaws are pretty simple. And then what's happening with the light is not so much where you're aiming it on your own parcel, is it cut off? That is it not going above the buildings?
No.
And is it, well, I'm just describing it to you, is it not going above the buildings? And is it not going out across onto the neighbor's property especially? So that's the spirit of what we're describing with the cutoffs. Do you know, Ryan, the certificate of occupancy? How would that not happen? So you say, here's your permit, go build the storage unit, but you can't use it till we do the certificate of occupancy, and at that time, like, it's now, what? 9 years later or whatever, since we.
I would speculate that it's due to turnover of the position. I think there was a note from Chuck Wise when he was working on, I think, the 2015 permit, that he was working with Jeff on doing the certificate of occupancy. It seems like that trail just ended. Probably a new person came in and didn't pick up where it was left off. And so on the administrative side, that's probably how it fails to get done.
So you have a process to go out and take these conditions and say, hey, guys, you got your new storage building built.
Mhm.
I'm gonna do this inspection
Mhm.
and check this stuff.
Yeah, so on my end currently, the way that I run it is I'll have project folders, and this permit will be combined, the administrative application and the DRB project folder will be combined, and they'll be put into a awaiting certificate of occupancy folder. So it doesn't get moved to the complete folder until that project is closed out. So that's how I manage it. And there's also a spreadsheet that tracks hearings and says at the end whether it's complete or not.
So would this existing permit maybe show up on your radar screen, or just hadn't, because it was done by?
It hadn't, because my system, I established it.
Yeah, okay.
Basically, it was a mess beforehand.
Yeah, okay. And the lights we talked about out there at the facility, the timing of the lights. Before in the exhibits, it said that they were gonna be motion activated. So you wanna have them be on, like, whenever it's dark.
From
That's
dusk to
the
dawn.
game. Basically,
That's what they are.
you've got a photo line. They turn on when it gets dark,
Their hours of operation, or are people able to come at any time of day to their unit?
they can.
24 hours a day.
Did you do a project review sheet for this?
Yes,
Was that in the pack? Was that in the packet?
I think so.
Or, I didn't.
So there's my application review that I was reading off. There's the administrative summary, exhibit 2, which is fairly brief. And then there's also, I did a review of all the past applications, exhibit number 5, which basically goes through the process that they've been through to this point.
I was talking about a permit review sheet for other permits that might be needed from the state.
Oh, no.
Okay, because that just gets me to my next question about the stormwater. You guys might not know this, but the state has cut in half their threshold for their stormwater permitting. So they used to say, if you create an acre or more of impervious, then you have to have a stormwater permit. They've since, over the years, I don't know exactly when they did it, couple of years ago, they changed that threshold to a half acre. So so it's basically like if you have more than a half acre of impervious, then you would have a state, they call it an operating stormwater permit. So it's something here where I think you at least want to have that phone call, because the area that you guys use now for your stormwater treatment, basically, most of that stormwater is going to the backyard and going into that swale and sort of settling in and disappearing there. The reason you might want to just double check whether you need that permit or not, because that area will be prime real estate. If you need a stormwater treatment system, which would be similar to what's there, then you might need a little bit of space. And it'd be good for you to know that now. We don't, in this instance, I'm not sure, we're bumping into the guidelines that we provide about when we wanted the stormwater permit. In this case, it's just my observation from the site. It's not a real, the stormwater is infiltrating on the site. It's not like your typical 1 acre new impervious site on a big steep hillside without any ability for that water to sink in, but it certainly might be on the radar screen of the state. So if there's no stormwater, we don't have a stormwater plan, that might be something that would have shown up in that review checklist.
So on your guidance document, I looked at that and we had said like 5,000 square feet or something.
Exactly.
And when I measured out the whole area, it depended on very tiny difference, whether I drew it on, it was right about 5,000. So I got multiple readings on.
Yeah,
It's
and so it's one of those things where like the first couple would have clearly fallen under that. We added the third one and we sort of said, well, I'm in the last decision. It was clear, like, this is where the stormwater is all going. Now, there's gonna be a building there that goes up right to that spot. So it's probably, I'm thinking that the state process is probably gonna be triggered. So that would be, it would require less of less input to the town. Right? So anyway, that's something I would suggest you guys think about before you break ground, is figuring out whether you need that one or not. There, another condition that was in the existing permit was the sealing of the well. Did you guys talk about that at all?
We haven't.
There, the condition says to protect the natural resources, the groundwater aquifer, the existing abandoned water supply is to be located and sealed prior to foundation or driveway construction. Provide documentation of this to the zoning administrator. In lieu of completing this work, it's also acceptable to provide a letter from the state indicating that you don't have to do it. Is that something that happened or it was done?
I didn't catch up with the
Well,
question.
I was just reading to you the last condition from the last permit, which was, there was the well that was up there.
Yeah,
And at the time, the board put a condition in there for you to seal that well.
it is.
Okay, did you get, and to seal the well and give the town that documentation, or provide a letter from the state that said you didn't need to seal the well. So I am going through this list of existing conditions and I'm just asking, was that work done? And if so, could you give Ryan a copy of that documentation? Then, when we do the new decision, we won't have to have that same condition on here, because somewhere out there, there's a well. I don't know anything about the well, but that was a condition. That's,
It's sealed and buried. So
It was done when we put the first unit up. Sealed and buried.
so
I don't have any documentation. Else.
So what are you supposed to do? Get someone from the state to come down and look at the ground where the well used to be and say, no, you don't need to do it?
I do know, just because I do know how the process works. I don't know what you guys did, but I can perhaps answer that. If you have a shallow water supply, like a dug spring, it's different. But if you have a drilled well, what they do is you pull the pump, and then you infill that space with things that aren't permeable. So there's a bunch of things that meet that definition. You can grout it. Another way they do it is to do they do different layers where you just put in bentonite clay, then some sand, then clay, then sand. And so over the course of an hour or whatever, you fill that up. The idea is that drilled hole that goes right down through into the aquifer doesn't end up being a way for pollution to go down when you're buying a well. So the state just has the process to do it. And usually the well drillers do it because most people don't know how. And then the well driller just says, here, the well was abandoned. They give you that piece of paperwork. Sometimes I think the board said in here, or if you didn't do that, you can just send a letter to us that said the state doesn't require you to do it. That's all. So either of those were the options provided at the time.
So who do we talk to get a letter from the state?
You would just call it, I think probably, is it Terry Shearer?
Yeah.
You can't do that to anything with the state, because they're not gonna, I mean, you can't see nothing there. You guys walk over tonight.
Yeah, but it's Don Joe off time.
Okay, so I don't know where the well is. Is it in the driveway? Is it a drill well?
Yes,
Is it in the driveway area?
yes.
So then you can,
I mean, it's gonna be dug up so somebody can see it and then redo it, and
I don't know how you sealed it, but if it's just like the well cap's there, then that's how it's done. The well cap comes off.
yeah, but nobody's gonna take my word for it, how it's done, right?
They're gonna make us dig it up so they can look and see if it was done right or not.
I don't know how to answer that. Would we?
Well, you're asking the question, who needs the answer, you or the state?
We would need to know that it was abandoned, how it's supposed to be abandoned. Or you would provide a letter from the state saying you don't need to. Because just because I'm an engineer, doesn't mean I should be responsible for figuring out whether or not what you did meets the rules or not.
Well, obviously, we're not gonna get a statement from the state, because they haven't seen it, they don't know what we did, they
Yeah.
take my word for it, so. What do you require then?
So I would be happy to give Ryan, the link to the process that describes how it's done. And then he can interact with you and you guys can decide whether or not it meets that.
Yeah, I can work with you and Terry to figure out what they need to provide us with a letter.
And if if it's accessible like that, it probably is no big deal. I don't know how you did it, and I don't, but I know, having seen the process several times, that it really is not difficult. So,
No,
Well, it wouldn't be, thank God we have an excavator. But, I mean, to dig it up so they can look and see if it's done right, to dig it up or
I
down.
don't think, yeah, I don't think that the looking will do much.
Yeah, I think we just need to ask Terry and he can tell us.
Okay.
If it's a drilled well, it's very straightforward.
Who's
And
here?
Terry's the head of the water wastewater division for the state.
Oh, for-
Yeah, so and we might ask him and he might say, there, you don't need to. You don't need to seal it, or if it was sealed, you don't need to tell us, or he might say something else, but he's the person who has the answer.
What, where it is?
But I can reach out to him and just see what they need.
Thank you very much, I would appreciate that.
Sure. Okay, so I think that then. I think the landscaping. So I'll read you the condition, because I think we want to talk about landscaping for a minute. The condition 7 is the landscaping along the northerly property boundary is to be improved. Specifically, the bushes in the vicinity of the adjacent business, which are dead or dying, are to be replaced with similar screening bushes that are suitable for use in the drier shores of the site. And this is, I remember talking about this, basically like, it's sandy there, right? So the bushes, what?
Sand and stone,
So the bushes that were there were like dying and dead.
they were killed mostly
Or-
from people driving over the bank to get stuff out of the park that was up there.
Okay, so this condition is, it seems to me to be flexible enough for you guys to comply with. It's not, this doesn't feel particularly burdensome to me. If you need to put in a little bit of effort with watering or whatever for a while, let those things get established, then that seems like a reasonable ask. Or a reasonable condition. I don't imagine that one would go away in the new permit, because you have another building that's even close, you're proposing another building even closer to the abutter. So,
But I think it'll be fine, because he dug it out. And we brought in good fill to put those trees in with.
Something that holds water better.
Yes,
Yeah.
very much so, there's even clay mixed in with it.
And you planted 6 or 7 already.
We put 6 in.
Yeah.
And there was already 3 there.
Yeah, there's. Okay.
We put the 6 in, they got. Oh, no.
Okay.
And I also learned that instead of letting them grow as tall as the one down by the road, I can actually trim them to, like, if I want them 6 feet tall or 5 feet tall or whatever, I can trim them all the time and they will fill right in.
that makes them get,
Yeah,
and this is the screening that we're talking about, is this direction.
Yep.
And it's not from outer space,
No.
it's the people in that vicinity. So that 5-6 foot range seems like you're on to the right path.
okay. I'm just wondering why we're the only ones that have to do something like that. I mean, the other.
I am absolutely certain that you are
not.
No, but I mean,
You-
in our area, I mean, Stan never put a thing up there. I don't think there's a barrier between the post office and the eatery.
There- And I only want to say that there's lots of old development
Yeah.
in our towns and our
Yeah.
village where we haven't done that.
Yeah,
But since I've been on the board and before I was on the board, that there has been a renewed interest in making sure that section of the bylaws is complied with. Because the impact that I don't mean you specifically,
Yeah, yeah.
but the impact that development has on the abutters is affected by their visual perception of it more than anything else besides sound,
Yeah.
like noise that
Yeah.
someone makes.
Yeah.
So if you can have that little bit of vegetation,
Mhm.
then your building disappears in terms of the impact to that neighborhood. We have very limited landscape requirements for residences.
Yeah.
But they become more robust for, commercial development next to residential development for example.
Okay,
And in your case, you get to be neighbors with this wonderful place where people are playing and hitting balls, and you have a lot of visibility on that one side.
yeah,
So I know that it seems like we're laying into you and only you, but that's not the case.
Yeah.
This is a universal theme that has been around since I've been around.
If there was an application that came from from villagers and that came before the board for the same thing, that landscaping section would be reviewed under. For
oh,
their
well,
project as well.
it will already be done.
You,
But no, we don't have a problem with them at all, they've never complained about anything.
yeah, it's a good neighbor.
Yeah.
They've
she
just
is.
driven over and killed your
Very
plants.
nice, yes. And our son lives in the house on the other side, so.
Yeah. Yep. Does anybody else have
No,
any questions?
I'm very satisfied with the information we have.
I'd like to, are there any further, do you have any other comments or thoughts before we're just about to close the hearing? So
I just have one more.
go ahead, shoot.
So on the new building, we gotta use these lights that look like the lights we have and do the same thing on the new building. But do we have to go through and change all of the other lights on the other buildings too? Before we get this permit for this building?
I don't know that I can answer that tonight. Because we do, believe it or not, we do talk about these
Yeah.
things when we deliberate. And I might be cooking up my own opinion of that answer.
Yeah.
Which might be totally different
Yeah.
than his.
Probably, yeah.
And then when we vote, I'll get voted down or whatever. So, your lights that you have already have to comply with the zoning bylaws. We'll be talking about whether or not we think they do. So I understand from your information tonight that you'd like to just keep them like how they are. And so we know that, so we'll talk about that. But they are sort of spotlights. And they will cast more light than a fixture that is fully cut off. And like you were saying, that right when you were looking at that light, and you can see that the light can't go behind it, right? Because that lens is like a lens. Cutoff fixtures have that section that just sticks out just enough so that the lens isn't shooting like this.
So we'd have to double the amount of lights up there to get the same that we got now.
Or get your tinfoil out.
Yeah.
I was joking, like,
Oh,
like
okay.
you can put you wouldn't have to change the fixtures. There's nothing in our bylaws that say that you can't do the cutoff.
You know, if you put the cutoff, so they're going to shine down sides,
Look, watch,
having on each end.
I didn't say anything about the sides. The cutoff is for up.
Well, at least don't
We
shine.
don't have anything that shines on.
Yeah.
Drive by at night sometimes.
Maybe, probably we will. If you want to keep those lights, then it's probably will say, Ryan, drive by, does it comply with the
I don't
bylaws?
think they're really that bright.
Yeah,
At night, I don't think they are.
I mean, to go with, I guess if it gets to be a light thing, I just go without any lights at all. And,
Yeah.
because there's, the issues that I'm having with these light problems is those cutoff lights aren't gonna shine up enough to eliminate the whole side of the building, from one end to the other.
Yeah.
Without putting all the way down to the,
Over your door.
and you can't put them down to the building on a pole. So you would have to mount them to the building. Then that opens up another state permit. And then you gotta get in all that, and I've had it, so.
So that like, if you were to go to attach a light along the building, the buildings don't have power.
No, there's no power in the
So
building.
you
There's
need
no
another
power.
permit to run a conduit
No.
down there.
You can't you can't attach the light to the building without a state permit from the fire marshal.
That's what he told me.
He's okay with them on the poles, which, like they shine up enough so people can see and get in and out and all that, but, if you had to put those cutoffs, because I've looked at other businesses that have those and they shine up about a 10-foot spot or something on the ground. It's not gonna be sufficient up there for all the money it's gonna cost to do it without putting them on the building. And that's a whole nother slew of lights plus the permit. I'm not sure what the permits would entail to the fire marshal, but the one that I had to get to them is just, it's more ridiculous than your one for the screening. So,
Even more ridiculous than that.
yeah.
No, we.
Well, you want us to screen from a neighbor that isn't even there at night or half of the year. And the people over there are not sleeping, they're either, like you said, playing ball, making noise.
Picking our fingers.
And they're also looking at a parking lot for that establishment and the dumpster. And that's opposed to a side of another building, which to me is much more attractive than a dumpster.
Because they asked us if we would. Yeah, they went, because they did ask us at one time. I'm sure it's not even on their minds now. But their back parking lot, they wanted to make it so people could drive down over the bank into our storage units and come out our driveway. And we told them no.
Like, just make a loop.
Yeah, we told them no.
Good answer.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because then they throw all the garbage in your.
yeah.
So you need a permit from whom to put lights on the building?
She wants to know who told you you needed a permit to put all those lights up on the building.
The fire marshal.
Fire marshal, Springfield.
Because it's a public building, they have jurisdiction. So he's right.
Because of attaching electricity to it.
Too.
Well, it's because of a metal structure, right?
Right.
I don't think it was.
It wouldn't matter.
Metal structure. I think it was to do, because metal structures tend to not burn as much as wood structures, so.
Yeah, they have, if it's a public building, then the state has jurisdiction, you have to get a permit and a licensed electrician has to do it. So it's a different ball game.
Okay, thanks, we didn't know,
Yeah.
good information.
Okay, so I think unless there's anything else you guys wanna add, Ryan,
I'm good.
does anybody?
About how long do you think this process will be?
Well, if we don't get back to you in 45 days,
Oh,
then
Do
you get
whatever
your
you want.
permit without any comments from us. So we have that,
Back to us in 45 days, we won't do it anyhow, because
See,
it's gonna be too far in.
maybe, why don't you just tell us what's going on with your thoughts about the schedule?
Well, we're just looking to, I mean, we really don't have a lot of stuff lined up. I've got prices on the building and stuff, but they need 8 weeks, notification to make the building.
well, that's 60.
And, I've gotta get concrete work done and do the leveling off for the concrete and stuff, so there's, and I wanna get it done before winter, so. I mean, there's
Yeah, because
ample time at this point, but it does take time to put the building up once you get it.
yeah,
Because
and
it's,
you know, we have someone in place to do the building.
there's about 10 million screws that come with it.
So the concrete definitely needs to be done before the winter, and not that we're gonna delay, that's not, I'm just trying to, but the building could be put up in winter. It's a metal,
It's,
She said you can put the building up in the winter.
no, it's a question. It's
No,
not,
it's a question, she said.
it's, yes, you can, it's been done, like, we did it on the last one, but it's cold.
yeah, but the concrete, I get it, you got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I can only answer in truthfully, in that we've been aspiring to turn these around faster.
Yeah.
We have a lot of them right now, and we have a couple goofy ones that are taking a lot of my time and Ryan's time. And we have always tried to be faster. But we have sort of failed at that.
Well,
Ryan has taken over a lot of the duties of writing these things, which is improving our time frame. But I want to be realistic and say,
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna be at least 2 weeks.
Yeah. But you better give him more pay than.
I would,
Oh,
we have lobbied, and we are grateful to have him helping with the tasks that he's helping with now.
Awesome.
well, you better vote in July.
We always do.
Okay.
We're here every voting day.
Yeah.
So do we wanna,
I think a motion was made, and then, wasn't it? No?
is it,
Oh,
somebody please?
Oh, then I'll make a motion to close the hearing.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so that is it. We'll do our best, which mostly means me promising Ryan's time to do it. Usually we deliberate. That doesn't usually take very long, a week or two,
Yeah.
and then we give it to him, and then he has to fit in the writing of it.
And then we have to approve it again.
Yeah.
And so sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
And we've had a lot of applications. It's been a pretty busy year.
Mm. I can't wait till you get one for the garage across the road.
You could come and participate. You cause maybe you could sell them. Do you have any tools left? You could sell them?
Oh. He's got them down to the house.
Okay.
Okay. That's why he has a pole barn.
Well, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a
Sorry,
nice evening.
it's such a process.
Yeah, does this have a lot to do, does this process have a lot to do because of zoning?
It's, the zoning.
Well, it's only, yeah,
Voted on.
That's-
Whenever.
you,
You voted for it, or maybe you didn't. Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
this is all the zoning bylaws.
yeah,
That's what you just went through,
okay.
Yeah.
zoning.
And they were approved, what year? 20? It was
new
voted on.
ones?
It was
24.
voted on, yeah, I don't know. Can't remember when they voted on.
Oh, wow.
Yep, all right.
Have
Thanks,
a great
guys.
evening. Thanks.
Thank you.
1974.
Yeah.
Oh, no wonder I don't remember. Wasn't it nice?
Okay. Next item on our agenda, is sketch plan review. For application 260604.SOL, a 2-lot subdivision. For residential single-family use. And. So we'll do introductions now because we haven't met before. My name's Todd. I'm the chair of the Development Review Board. And everybody else, let's all introduce ourselves because we don't know each other.
Michael Cohen, board member.
I'm Beth Hunton.
Brian Gumbart, land use administrator.
I'm Peg Solomon.
I'm Gibbs Solon.
If we get to the right application.
So, while we're all getting tuned in to you guys, the sketch plan review process is a little bit different than what you just saw. And absent the personalities. The last thing that we just did was a hearing. So I open the hearing, we take exhibits and evidence, it's formal. And we are acting as a quasi judicial. What do you call it? Quasi judicial. Anyway, we will give them a decision of yes or no, and we will describe why. Okay, the hearing is discreet. The process that you're coming into is completely different. In the sketch plan review process, we get to look at the ideas that you have and what you're describing to do, and then perhaps give you an idea of whether or not what you're proposing is remotely feasible based on the subdivision bylaws. And if it seems like it is, then we'll identify for you the things that we immediately notice you need to be working on to get us. But all of that is to say that we're just having a conversation. If you decide to move the subdivision forward and you come for a review, that will be a hearing. And you will get to repeat everything that you said before. But so tonight we can talk about things if you're unsure of. This is the discussion time. The hearings are, we try not to discuss and tell the people how to do their job or to do their project because it's their project. Whereas tonight we might give you suggestions, right? And at the end of the evening, if you guys still want to go ahead, then what we'll do is we'll give you feedback in writing. There's two different things we fill out. One is a sort of a checklist where we say what we want, what we don't want. If it's if it's a simple subdivision, then there's things that we'll just say we don't need to do. If it's a complicated subdivision, we'll write at the end of the night, we'll say, yeah, we want this, have that. And then also we do provide comments, and so you have some written comments too. Yeah, and so you want to, maybe Ryan, you want to give us an introduction?
Sure. So this is a proposed 2-lot subdivision. It's the property on the corner of Victory Drive and 131. I guess if you were looking down Victory Drive from 131, be on the right-hand side. There's a house kind of close to the road there. And the proposed subdivision would split the lot. So from 131 looking towards it would be sort of the back end of the lot. It's currently a 3.9 acre property in the rural residential 1 acre district. And they're proposing a single family residence. So the property is owned by Ross and Judy Harford, and I've met with Gibb and Ross a couple of times. I think that's all that I'll have right now.
Okay, wait, so it's owned by Ross and Judy Harford,
Mm-hmm.
but right now we have Peg and Gibb.
Representing James, who is officially the applicant.
Okay,
And James is our son.
okay, so who is Ross and Judy?
They're the owners of the property. They live in the house that's already there. So they're subdividing and selling the new lot
Okay,
to the applicants.
so James is proposing to buy the lot from them if the subdivision goes through.
Exactly.
Yeah, thank you.
And James would be building.
Yes.
They've walked a lot with, Jason Waitsville to look at wastewater, so they've started that process. And, we've discussed highway access as well.
Does it seem,
It
does
looks,
the existing house come off of 131 or?
yeah, the existing houses, the driveways on 131, this access would be on Victory.
And I'm sorry, you said somebody walked the property for wastewater?
Jason Waitsville's an engineer, and he was looking at going on the water supply wastewater permit.
Okay,
So he's sort of done a preliminary walkthrough. But that is to say that they're aware of the permit and the process.
yeah, okay. And, okay, do you have more to say or?
I don't think so. I've reviewed, some of the basics, steep slopes towards the end of the packet.
Yeah.
It shows state ag soils, of about 3 acres. There potentially is a little section of 25% slopes in the northeast corner. Doesn't seem to be affected by what they're proposing.
Right, looks like that's not gonna be a problem.
Brian, we have not done an application in many, many, many years that involved agricultural soils. But we've often had projects that are sort of falling well under that 3 acre
Yeah,
asking point. Tell us about ag soils as you see it.
so I think what I'll work on with the applicants is the challenge form to evaluate whether or not they qualify as prime ag soils. My feeling is that they won't, but if in the case that they did not meet the criteria and they are in fact considered prime ag soils, the requirement of the bylaw is basically that development on those soils minimizes the impact to their utility, basically.
Can we talk about that for a minute? Do you follow what he just said?
I agree.
Okay, so we have all these soils in Vermont. Some of them are suitable for agriculture.
Okay.
That is, they have just the right conditions. A few of them would be like slope, like it's really hard to farm on a 50% slope.
Right.
Not prime ag soils. It's hard to farm, it's possible, but it's hard to farm in the middle of a river. Another example,
Yeah.
right between those two, dead flat
Yeah.
and too steep, we have these other soils, and some of them have just the right characteristics of, they don't have bedrock in them, and the state has these soils mapped, and we use the state maps to give a clue of where these are. So if you have a flattish, I say flattish, because if you have a dead flat piece of land in Vermont, it's either sand or a wetland.
Yeah.
But so those are pretty rare. But if you have a gently sloping hillside, chances are it has potential for agriculture. And the town of Weathersfield has adopted bylaws that try to protect that because we all have to eat. When a development is planned and you're affecting soils that could be agricultural, we give sort of options about how to do that. And one is to plan your development so you're not building right in the middle of the agricultural soils. So that's what he was just saying. Planning so that you minimize your impact. And I haven't, delved into every little detail here, but an example of that would be like if you have 3 acres of agricultural soils and you want to do a subdivision and you put one house in every single quadrant, well, you basically made that soil. You couldn't use it for agriculture. Whereas you could take those same 4 houses and you could stick them over against the hillside where there's not prime ag land, and you've got your 4 houses and you've got all your agricultural land preserved. This is just, I'm just using that as an example, of how you are minimizing the impact. So when you guys are in your preliminary phases, avoiding them, minimizing the impact, that's one way. The other way is to fill out this form, which is to say, a soils person looks at the site and says, hey, your map's fully wrong. This is all, the ag soils were all thrown. My grandfather stripped them all and it's an old quarry site. There's no ag soils even left here. So another way is to show that that there are no agricultural soils, and so you're exempt from that activity.
Now, how big, lots of land, how big should the lots of land be that this applies to? Any 2 acres, 1 acre, I mean,
The threshold for triggering this regulation is development occurring on contiguous prime ag soil of greater than 3 acres. And so when I just mapped it on the computer, it was 3.06. So I mean, that could be, the acreage could be off too. But I think the next step for us is to go through that challenge sheet and see what it says, because it takes into consideration like how recently it's been farmed and how far it is from villages and a variety of different things. So my limited experience with maybe 3 or 4 of those sheets is it's been they've been challenged successfully each time. So yeah.
so we'll work with you, Ryan, on that.
Yeah.
We'll be in touch with you about that.
Yeah, and Jason can help you. Jason can
He's
help.
actually coming out on the 16th to
Yeah.
do some test pits for us,
Yeah,
just to, make sure we're okay before we further connect with you.
I like that idea of you just talking to him about it in the beginning for planning,
Yeah,
because like I do this sometimes for a living.
Yeah.
And the easiest thing to do is to know what you're working with ahead of time.
Yeah.
So if he knows that that's something you're gonna run into at the local level for the subdivision.
Yeah.
Then he can look and he can give you a more accurate number. And he could say, it's 3.2 acres. You're gonna have to deal with this.
Yeah.
Or he could say, it's only 1.1 acres. I can show that on my exhibit. You don't have to worry about
I
that.
was gonna say, just as a clarification, again, the lot sizes we got from being online and stuff, we came up with the 3.9. To me, a good portion of that is like this. I mean, on the upper part, we have a fairly stable slope, but then 150 to 160 feet in, it's an impossible drop until you get, I believe, was about 110 feet. So I'm saying a good 5% of that 3.9 acres is very, very steep. I mean, you can barely walk up it. At least I know I can barely walk up.
Mhm.
So, but that's something Jason can develop when he's out on the 16th.
Yeah, and I think that challenge sheet takes into consideration.
What's that?
I think the challenge sheet takes into consideration aspects like that too.
Okay, all right.
Do you have a surveyor?
We've been reaching out to a couple, have not had any, supposed to get a response tomorrow.
Yeah, sure. They're busy.
Yeah,
They're busy.
they're busy, and I think Jason actually gave me a note that 80% of the surveyors, registered surveyors in Vermont are over the age of 60.
Yep.
And so they're very hard to, younger kids just not going for it anymore. So, but he's hopefully he's put me in touch with somebody that I should get back from soon.
Yeah, it's weird when you would imagine like me and Jason are super young, like in that. Same with the engineers, like all the people that we know, they're all dead or retired.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm. Okay.
So you
next.
want to, so when you get the surveyor on board.
Yeah.
It's really, really helpful for them to have you want to get them the checklist. Because, it identifies those things that we want to have on the plan.
Sure.
And we just did a hearing, not too long ago, and we were done in 50 minutes, everything, we were done.
Because we followed your check.
It's just a checklist, it's all really
Yeah.
low hanging, easy stuff.
Okay.
And, so get them that in the beginning and it'll make everything easier. Now you know the agricultural soils are on the radar screen.
Yeah.
You solve that issue. It sounds like the lot size is not a problem. Your 1 acre zoning.
I have a question. Are you done?
Yeah.
On the page 5, is this, there's a culvert mentioned, is that new or is that already there?
No, that's the runoff along the side of the road.
Right,
It's in 15 feet from the road and it's down about, the runoff itself is down around 6 feet from the level of the road. So we were just proposing again to, just place it that we would have to put
for the driveway,
along the driveway.
okay. And then, have you talked, well, probably too early, have you talked to the highway superintendent about a driveway?
Our site guy, we're currently doing a UAG on Victory Drive across the way. And our site guy, Log Cabin Nursery, has been in touch and he is having him review the location of where you want the culvert and any input he might have on where the driveway would best come in.
I'm sorry. You talked to Log Cabin Nursery? What?
Please.
On another property, they're doing an ADU, so they're in touch with someone about this type of work, but I don't think that they've been in contact with Ray yet.
Okay,
So Ray will look at a highway access application, advise as to if there are any problems with it. And then if he thinks the culvert is within the right of way, then he might have guidance on that. Or if he says it's outside the right of way, it's your project to deal with.
Okay.
But he'll have that input.
So why are you doing an ADU somewhere else if your son's building in this house?
Because
Why don't we do an ADU here?
my daughter, well, we don't own the property.
Uh-huh.
But our daughter is moving back from Tulsa into the ADU we're building.
She's moving onto our property. We built her a little house.
I got you.
oh, cool. Yeah.
And her husband and our granddaughter. And so then in the meantime, we've been looking for properties all around.
Yeah.
Southern Vermont for our son. He lives over in a condo over on Scotty Mountain. And they would like to get their own little house too, so.
Yeah.
He was talking to Ross and the owner, and they, between the two of them, they came to a gentleman's agreement that we would buy 2 acres on the upper level of his property if it's possible, and then help our son build a house there, and then we'd be done.
Yeah.
Because,
It's a good, the reason I bring up the ADU is because it's a good time to permit it.
Yeah.
If he's thinking that, like, I wanna have a house, to add the ADU now is like insignificant in terms of like the permitting costs, and even the leach field is similar, it's just a little bigger. It's a great time if you're cause now you guys know how useful they are.
Right.
And Weathersfield, the permitting process for them, we're sort of trying to accommodate them.
Okay.
So think about that too. Because all Jason needs to do is make the leach field,
A little bit.
like, it'll be like 7 feet longer
Okay.
and then you can have the two.
Two houses tie into
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. And even with this, we're, you know, if it's 2 acres, you could really, you could do two houses.
Yeah.
You know, we have the PUD process, the planned unit development process, so that like, for a piece of land like this, if you could do two houses and we can do some modifications to the setbacks and stuff if you're clustering them. So
I see where you're-
I would be, you know, keep that in mind as you formulate your plan, that you have, because of the zoning district, you have, and if you're getting 2 acres or a little bit more than 2 acres, you have some flexibility for that
Okay.
as well.
It's good to know. Yeah, thank you. Good to know.
So this, your surveyor will put the slopes greater than 25%. Right now, we don't have a process for developing them.
Yeah.
So you can't do them. The significant communities, the wetlands, all those have got to be identified.
Yeah.
We don't have, there's, it's like, that's a south facing hills. Are there beer wintering areas?
I think I checked all those things. My form doesn't automatically, call it out, but I don't think that anything was triggered in this area.
Okay.
You have anything else to, add?
No, will there, you just said it'll be a checklist, would that be coming in? Or something I sit down with Ryan to confirm, or?
We usually do it right now. So,
Yeah.
are we gonna stay and do it tonight? That's what we usually do.
I think we probably have time.
Yeah. I don't know how soon we'll get to you, but we typically sit after you leave with the town.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's a little different than, you know, other, like, you're doing sticker.
All right, that'd be great.
So our next step is to talk to Ryan, right?
Yeah, so I think we'll get the checklist from the board and I'll get that to you and we can go over what all that entails. And then the next real step would be the survey.
The survey.
Yeah, survey and work with the wastewater, because what's come up in the past is the location of that boundary line might be impacted by the location of the wastewater system.
Yeah.
Okay.
We also have like a couple of ways that you can move forward. We've come to sketch plan reviews before where we pretty much, like, the applicant knows what they want to do and we have everything we need.
Right.
So we look at that and say, yeah, we just need these 10 more things, and then we have a hearing and
Right.
we're done. It seems like maybe you guys, because you haven't even had, like, Jason's just been there, you don't have a surveyor yet.
Right.
Probably what I would want to do, I'll talk to the other board members, is just have you do a preliminary plat next.
Okay.
Because when we call something a final plat, it makes everybody think like,
Yeah.
I'm coming in and I'm gonna be done tonight.
Yeah.
And they just aren't.
Okay.
So we'll talk about that. And I think procedurally, does it really make it? I mean, we just open that as a preliminary plat review. And I'm just talking out loud now. Does it make a difference with notification?
Yeah, I think it makes a significant difference in terms of my workload. I think warning a hearing and then you have to provide a written decision afterwards. Each time.
Not for a preliminary plat.
Yeah.
We have to do a written decision.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the warning notice process, I mean, it might take me an hour, but they also have to wait an extra 15 days, and depending on how that aligns, it might push them back 2 weeks, it might push them back 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Depending on how everything shakes out. So my my opinion is always less of that paperwork warning process, the better. And as long as the applicants know if they were to have a hearing warrant for a final plat, knowing that this is their first one, that it could be continued to get more information. I think that's my preferred route. I think it saves administrative time that way and expedites their because a continued hearing is so much quicker than closing one, writing a decision, getting the information, saying, yep, it's complete, warning another one. I mean, they could extend it at least a month.
So the dam project, that was a continued hearing.
Right.
And we saw how quick it was.
Right.
But they didn't satisfy the board the first time around, so
Yeah.
they had to come back.
Okay. So that means the checklist.
Yeah, so Brian's just, and we're all trying to emphasize, we can do a final, but you
Yeah,
better have your ducks in a row.
right, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Reasonable.
Yeah, 'cause it's-
and-
Yeah, I think, I don't have any more questions.
All right. Well, touch base, right?
All right, we'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Sit down.
I know.
The stand, not the street.
I know, and it was riveting too. You were, all our hearings were so exciting, you didn't even think to shift.
It was such comfortable benches.
Well, those benches are the worst.
Well, next time we'll bring a pillow.
Yes, I say that. Well, the secret is there are chairs in there.
Oh,
Yeah, so.
Do you know what's even a better secret? Have the application complete. And we'll get you out of here in no time.
great. Thank you.
Thanks.
What's next?
So, yeah, I think we have the approval of the meeting minutes.
Okay. I'll make a motion to get the discussion going, or do you like to talk about them first? You like to talk about them first, don't you?
I don't think about it.
You know? Okay, I'll just make a motion to approve the minutes and then
I'll second.
Okay,
you can do your discussion.
and I actually don't have them. Sorry.
They're in the
They're in the.
email that he sent.
Want me to print a copy?
Maybe,
It's May 26th.
no, we're,
Oh, sorry, no, that one.
Here.
That's what I said before.
yeah, I got the 26 ones.
Oh, okay. Was that the one where?
12, are they in this?
Yeah, that was the email from, on Thursday.
Yeah, I got the Thursday email.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And there's
There
12?
were four attachments.
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh, it's this one.
Yeah.
Okay, DRB 512.
Yeah.
Oh, I think the only thing I wanted to change was one. Let's see, this is page 3. Second to last paragraph, where Todd Hindinger asked the board if there were any conflicts of interest or ex parte communications. And then it said the board members did not. I think the that needs to say the board members concluded there were not, or something to that effect.
Stated there were none.
Stated there were none. That was it.
Okay.
Anybody else have anything? Okay, so should we vote to approve the minutes as amended? So move.
Yep.
All those in favor?
I,
Aye. Okay, so can you make that one change, or should we pull her out of retirement?
I can handle it.
Okay. And then. Meeting minutes from the 26th.
Hmm.
I read through them, I didn't have any comments. I thought you did a good job, Ryan. I appreciate you. Like including the detail where it seemed relevant,
Mhm.
and then. I was just so glad, like sometimes. I'm trying to explain something to somebody and it's just, I feel like I'm blabbering and it's painful and I'm so glad that you left that out.
Yeah, I think when I was doing it in Rockingham, I had to do all the minutes, and to save time, it makes it easier just to like basically write the facts that are going to be the facts in the decision.
Yep.
So rather than he said this, I think I might have started it later on too. I think I got caught up in it. He said something at the beginning, but
Yeah.
it's easier just to say, this was it.
Okay. Good.
Anybody else have any comments on them?
No, I thought they were good
Yeah.
minutes.
Good job, Ryan. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so shall we vote to accept the minutes
Move.
as written?
We accept as written.
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so you don't have to make any changes there.
Okay.
Okay, and I'd like to take the items 8, 9, 10, 8, 9 and move them, keep them moving.
keep it moving, maybe by December.
Moving on down the road.
Yeah,
I didn't sign up for this many meetings.
yeah.
I wasn't
It's been a lot,
anticipating this.
yeah, it's been a
We
lot.
got, everybody's trying to retire and deal with personal stuff and
Oh, geez.
Well, last year there were 3 in the entire year.
yeah.
We've
And we've
done,
had, I think between everything we've completed and warned so far, there's at least 6 or 7 in the last 3-month block.
Yeah, and it may be just thinking about that, it may be that you're gonna have to be firmer with the applicants
Mhm.
so that we don't burn anybody out. No matter who the applicant is.
okay.
So, okay.
Mhm.
Any updates for us, like with the town going ons and the planning commission?
Not really. I guess the only update I'll say is, that we mentioned before, the recording secretary, there's one person who reached out, and said they would be interested. I looked at some of their minutes, that looked good. So promising, and I'll follow up. Is there anything that the board wants me to ask about them or their process, whether or not they attend is, I think is one question.
That was it. for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, they need to attend.
But you don't think that you wouldn't be comfortable with them doing it from recording?
No. Well, no,
Okay,
I wouldn't like it if they didn't attend.
because you want them to be able to ask questions if they have them in real time, or what's the reasoning?
That's a really good reason.
That's a good
It's-
reason. Also, just the context that you might not get from the recording.
Does it make a difference to you if they're joining online?
No, if they can,
Which
if
is-
they can see us and,
Which is exactly the point, because if they're online and they can't hear what's happening,
Mm-hmm.
it needs to stop.
Yeah.
Like, because I feel like we want the online, what's going out to be understandable,
Mhm.
and they can't do their job if they can't hear it.
Right.
So if you hand them a recording later, then what
Yeah.
it's got.
And we've had issues where the recording didn't happen, or.
You've had to do that before, where you're trying to listen.
As well.
yeah, so if they can't hear us online, it's not being recorded? No, wait, not necessarily.
It's being recorded, but it's not audible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that'd be a really good check on the meetings anyway.
Also, Ryan, when we were going over the planting for the dam,
Yeah.
are you having some technical issues sharing your screen where you could have just brought up that document so that I could have seen it?
No, I could have, yeah, I don't know if I went upstairs to print that, maybe I missed that part of the conversation, I didn't know Dwight was looking for a copy.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that should have been no problem, that's why I joined a second thing, so I could share it like that. The other thing is, so this is the first time I'm running at Teams off of one computer, and so there's the second screen that's sort of off. And then I think, so I'm casting that screen from here, and I think I can probably cast to the other screen. So it was a little too advanced for a first try. And,
No, I understood.
but I think that that's something that I can do, and that was sort of the
Yeah,
intent of.
we can work on that too when we meet
Yeah,
next week.
yeah, I think I could have done that tonight, I think, if I didn't.
Just, I can understand why you wouldn't want to experiment with it
Mhm.
live, because if you share the wrong window or something, it gets
Mhm.
awkward.
But it's a really good point, because we just tonight saw, like Beth's there with our new security procedure, which is really good. If you want to see this thing, you gotta come in here and look at it. I like that.
And honestly, I thought when he emailed me the packet, I would get that too, and I
Yeah.
didn't realize until I got here that it wasn't in the packet. That he emailed it. I had the spur and I had everything else, but I had nothing on the dam. And
Yeah.
was that on purpose, because I was recused?
No, it was a
I don't-
link. The dam one had so much in it that it's in that email, but you read down, it says, I couldn't put this all in a PDF. Click this link, and the link took you to it.
Oh.
So you didn't get left out intentionally, but
Oh, yeah.
it sort of brings the point where we want Ryan to have this as like a PDF where he can just put it up, because there will be members of the public who are showing up who have not seen any of this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it'd be nice to be able to.
Yeah, we've got this big monitor.
So I think maybe next time I'll experiment with on the meeting on this one, and then on that one, I'll just have the packet for whatever we're doing that I can scroll through.
Go up and down.
I'll try that. The issue we've run into before is even it being on that big screen is still really
Yeah.
tiny for anyone who's not right
I
next
thi-
to it,
I-
but.
I'm not in favor of all these security issues. I'm gonna just come out and say it.
Mhm.
I think it's limiting public access to information. I understand the problems, you can't redact everything, but I would like the town to work on some sort of middle.
Well, I think it's kind of like anything where there's sort of a quick fix and then we'll sort of reintegrate better systems.
Reaction
Go.
mode.
Yeah, it's a little bit too knee-jerk
Yeah,
for me.
but
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, I can see where you don't have the application on there and maybe some of the emails, because then you get everybody's email address.
mhm,
But the surveys and the site plans, all that stuff can go out there.
mhm.
Just saying.
Yeah.
I know it's not on the agenda.
No,
It is
that's
on,
No, it is on the agenda.
we're just not on that
It's
item.
number 9.
We're not on it. He wanted to skip over it. So
yeah.
I'm out.
And it's good to hear your opinion, because I feel completely the other way. I think we've gone just like overboard on this idea that transparency means like I should be able to look up everything about everybody instantly. And that's where we are now.
Mhm.
I think that public transparency is just that, but it shouldn't be complete insight into every document just for people's convenience. Like it graces, I mean, when I look at what's out there in my name and all this stuff, it makes me not want to be on the board. Just because I not only is it a security risk, but I also have a job. If someone starts firing off nasty things about me, then all of a sudden I don't have work because of this, because of I'm trying to volunteer to help the town. So I am in favor of it, at least requiring lowest effort from a member of the public. Hey, I'd like to see who's making the decision. I'd like to come look at the exhibits. That seems perfectly reasonable to me, balanced against what we're looking at now, where we're used to honest arbiters, but now AI and everything is just
Well, it's a matter of taking a look at what technology we have available to us, you know, and what the capabilities and limitations are, and just how much work is going to be involved to not so much implement it, but maintain it.
Yeah, yeah. So we can change this knee jerk, like you said, as soon as Ryan can figure out how to efficiently redact, then it can all go back up. But until then,
I think redaction is going to be a heavy lift.
is it?
That takes a lot of labor, but I do
And it's
think, yeah.
prone to errors.
Yeah, I think it puts pressure on, I'll probably miss stuff.
Yeah.
I don't review all of the documents that I receive. Like,
But things like that whole previous permit in the spur application, that's why couldn't that have been up there?
only because then now I'm sorting through what is appropriate and what's not.
Yeah.
I mean, when I put the packet together, I generally am just sort of like grabbing everything that seems relevant.
Yeah, if we can segregate different types of documents.
Yeah.
So that it becomes
Thing.
more on almost a semi-automated or an automated process as to what can be readily available to the public online and what
Yeah,
needs some intervention.
like the A&R map.
Yeah.
I can go up there. The map of the,
Mhm.
of
So all of this comes back to the whole idea of to have a good work product takes more time, and you know, that's what's the limiting factor.
Yeah.
So.
But again, you know, if the documents were broken down individually and the ones that don't have a lot of PII in them go in one folder, and the stuff, everything else goes into another one.
Mhm.
And then also like SharePoint, for us to put a packet together, if you download all the files in the site or in a folder, it zips them up and it's just one file. But again, if it's accessible to us online, it doesn't matter. You just have different permissions on the different folders.
Yeah. Okay.
So again, it just takes thinking it through.
It does, but almost all of the documents, like it's the application that has everybody's personal stuff on it.
yeah, it's really just that first page.
And then for us, like, for like the board members and stuff, it shouldn't be, it shouldn't be where you can have your name.
Yeah.
That should be the only thing that the public should be able to see, because if the town needs to axe you, because you're fired from, you know, they pull you from a board or whatever, then your name's good enough.
What do you mean versus what? Your email?
Like the application form that you do to be a volunteer.
Oh,
Where you,
right.
Oh,
you
yeah.
have all your contact information, your home address.
Yeah, they don't post those anymore, though. They stopped doing that. They were.
Yeah.
And then that was brought up at the select board.
Oh, okay.
And the other thing too is if there's some stray bits of PII on some forms, maybe we can just redo the form so it doesn't appear on them.
Yeah, there you go.
Again, it's just a matter of looking, what's the end result we're looking to create? What are the viable options we have? What are the trade-offs and compromises in each one, and pick one?
Yeah.
It's kind of what I do for a living.
Thank you.
You're hired.
You're hired. We're gonna double your pay.
Yeah.
Only double?
Yeah.
Come on.
But we doubled it before, so it's quadrupled.
Wait, did I miss that number?
Yeah, we totally doubled when I.
Oh, no, I thought it was just.
So we've had it, in terms of us updating you, we had a deliberative session for the town police station application. We had a decision, and we're frantically working on the document to get
Edits,
back to you.
you're saying. You have it, it's all prepared and you're sending it back and around. And,
No,
No.
okay, where are you at then?
we have had a deliberative session.
Yeah.
We've made a decision.
I see.
Now we're, you have a taste of how long they take to put together. And so I just wanted to let you know that at least we've already met.
And I think it's inappropriate at this point for me to do more work on the decision.
There's no point.
Okay.
It's far enough along where I don't need your help anymore.
Okay.
But it's not done. And they, and this is, just so we're clear, just like everything, the reason you and I get punished by spending a lot of time is when the application's not complete. So let's continue to push that because that will reduce your time. And mine is only friction in that any member of the development review board, we don't want to create friction for that. We extra work for them. Because ultimately, the product that the applicant supplies is gonna be the same. I think, whether it's provided in advance of the hearing, or we have to continue a hearing and ask for it again.
Yeah, that one was a little unique.
Yeah,
Being the applicant, being the people who said, you're gonna have us on that meeting.
right. And,
But yes, I understand.
you with me?
Yeah. I get
You have, your job, I mean, by being forthright with the applicants and saying, these are our bylaws. These birds here, they just want you to follow them.
Right.
So if you can't, or you don't, if you're not willing to, then
We went over that thoroughly with Jeff. Me and him talked a long
Yeah.
time about, yeah.
it's okay. If you're not willing to, just say, there's no way on this green earth that I'm gonna do this. Just say it in the hearing.
Right.
But don't torture us.
Are you talking about the police station or the storage unit?
I'm talking about everything.
Oh, okay.
Just like, if the applicant is unwilling to follow the bylaws, then it needs to stop sooner than us reviewing old conditions that haven't been complied with. So now you're on top of all our new ones where you're making sure that people are following the conditions. And then we have these old compliance ones, which we knew Jeff's is just an example of one that we would have got to. And you would have said, oh, I don't think these lights meet the bylaws. And you would have already resolved that. So in the future, half of what we ended up being points of friction for them that would have been.
Maybe, I think this specific case, if I had approached him before he approached me and I said, your property's not in compliance, I don't think that would have gone very far. And then ultimately I end up issuing a violation. He ends up suing, or, it's like the fact that he came in, asked for an application and said, okay, great, thanks for coming in. Let's bring the whole thing into compliance. It was a better approach. I don't think it would have gone well to be like, you're not doing it right.
And he did appeal previous decisions,
Right.
which were convoluted and weird because they turned around basically because self-storage wasn't listed.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, so, I think we're all fighting for the same team. Keep it up,
Doing my best.
keep it up. Anything, you don't need anything from us, right? So what we can do now, Ryan, is if we can have our deliberative session for the sketch plan review, and it seems like you can just hang out with us for that if you want. I don't feel like there's nothing contentious or.
For the sketch plan?
Yeah.
Let's do it. And when we finish it, you do it by hand, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to make this mistake again. I want to make sure I get a copy of it.
Oh, yeah, so what I've done before, right, is
Yeah.
we used to put it together, then I would just give it to you and you would send it.
Yeah.
What happened last time was, Beth is like, hey, guys, we're running out of time to get this in. And I had already given it to you and you had already sent it to the applicants.
Okay.
So she just didn't know. So for the process, if we hand you a sketch plan review, give us, when you send it to the applicant or whatever, somehow,
Oh, yeah, just email it.
just go, DRB,
Yeah,
I
that's,
sent it.
that's better. I don't need a copy tonight. Okay.
Because otherwise, what you and I hand back and forth, we've left them out before, and normally people haven't been smart enough with paying attention, but occasionally Beth does.
Is that an insult or?
Moving on,
Yeah.
task at hand, please.
Yeah, let's get it done. Where's your little chart?
Okay, I got my little chart.
You're gonna be Grace.
You're gonna beat Grace with a, let us go home, that's an hour ago.
Is
9
this,
o'clock.
have we closed out the meeting? Do you want to do this deliberative?
Yeah, let's do a deliberative session now, so let's adjourn.
I would make a motion we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? All right.